What's up, party people? It's me, Jason McIntyre, and he is Geoff Schwartz. We are joining you on this glorious Thursday. We're sipping boat drinks, right, Geoff? Wearing these shirts here on Talk the Line, but you guys can't see the drinks. How are you doing today, Geoff? Are you feeling great about the Week 10 card ahead?
I'm feeling fantastic about this card. I didn't feel great about last week, but look, we got football, we got college football, the Masters this weekend, so much sports. I love it.
All right, so Geoff, here is the big board, and we will get to that shortly. But first, a Fox Bet offer that is incredible for Week 10. Okay, this is for new customers only, located in Pennsylvania, Jersey, and Colorado. Geoff, believe it or not, if you bet $1 on the Steelers, Giants, Eagles, or Broncos, and they score a single point, that's it. 1 point, which we know is impossible. They'll have to get a safety, a field goal, touchdown, whatever. Against their opponents, you win $50 in free bets. And the Eagles and Giants play this weekend, Geoff. So any points in that game and it's a victory, limit one bet per customer. Geoff, obviously somebody's going to score in that NFC least battle, right?
I would hope so. I don't know when the last time we had a 0-0 tie, but that would be maybe a scoregami. I don't know if we've had that before. So I would take this bet here.
Scoregami, nice usage of that, Geoff, early in the show. All right, let's get to the board. First up, Tampa Bay and Carolina. Geoff, Tampa coming off a brutal loss on national television. Sunday Night Football, they get destroyed by the Saints. They are 6-point favorites at Carolina. This is a rematch from week 2 when Tampa was favored and won, I don't know if we'd call it handily. They were up 21-0. Carolina made it moderately interesting before Tampa covered. Geoff, you know, this is a Tampa team. It's a big number coming off a bad loss. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, it really is a large number off that loss. And here's my always reservation on Panthers games. Teddy Bridgewater covers a lot of football games as a starting quarterback, right? He's always around that number. We saw last week, he took the Chiefs to the very end at a 67-yard field goal to win that game. They ended up covering that line in Kansas City. So I always worry about that. But look, Tampa Bay got embarrassed on national television last week against the Saints. They're a veteran team. They're going to come back out this week and play a lot better. Teams that lose by 35 points or more, it's very rare, but they come back next week, cover 6 out of 10 times. Carolina's defense, Jason, 31st on third down and last in the NFL in sacks. So I think Tom Brady's able to move the ball, be very comfortable in the pocket, something he wasn't last week against the Saints. I would lean Tampa Bay here, but again, I worry because Bridgewater is just so good at covering these games. He's not good enough to win a lot of them, but he's good enough to cover the game.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you here, Geoff. This is one of those games where I go back to Sunday night, and because I do these gambling shows, Talk the Line, obviously very popular among the people out there. I'm on several text chains with buddies, and they're like, what is going on with Tampa? They looked out of sorts. I said, guys, don't worry. Next week, there's a great spot against Carolina. And, Geoff, this number jumps out at me when I look at the stats. Teddy Bridgewater is the worst quarterback in the league under pressure this season. When operating from a clean pocket, he's great. 11 touchdowns, 1 interception. When Teddy Bridgewater is under pressure, 58% completions, 5 interceptions, which leads the league, 0 touchdowns. And if you can get to him, as Tampa, occasionally does, you're going to be fine. And Tampa sacked him last time 5 times. Yep. Again, this comes down to pressure on Bridgewater. He was sacked 5 times in the earlier meeting with Tampa and lost. Sacked 4 times by the Bears, lost. Sacked 3 times by the Falcons, lost. Geoff, you're an offensive lineman. Yes. You know how it works. If you can't protect your quarterback, you're in trouble. And I think Teddy's going to be under duress this week.
I think so as well. And you have to look at the trenches, right? Last weekend, look, guys, being embarrassed is the worst. There's obviously losing is bad, but being embarrassed on national television when everyone expected you to be the NFC frontrunner, and not only do you get embarrassed, your division rival embarrassed you. The offensive defensive lines for Tampa Bay did not play well last week. And we know they're good. We know they can protect Brady, rush the football. They can really get after the quarterback on defense. They're going to come back out this week to prove that they are still the big dogs in the NFC. So I think everything you said about the mentality of this team heading into this weekend is going to be big. Remember, Carolina has no Christian McCaffrey this weekend and just came off an emotional almost win against the Chiefs. So they're in a little bit of a letdown spot. They've lost 4 in a row, where Tampa needs to come out this weekend and show everyone, hey, we're still Tampa Bay. We're still the team that we believe can win the Super Bowl.
So again, Tampa favored by 6. They've got to win by 7 to cover. The total points on the game, 50.5. That would be the combined total of both teams. And you saw the graphic earlier on the money line. That's a big price to pay on the money line for Tampa. You got to put up a lot of money. See, they're a great example from our research team. I don't know that I would play this on the money line. One quick note, and again, we just talked a lot about Tampa. A quick note on Carolina, okay? Home divisional underdogs this season, and it's only a small sample size. Home divisional underdogs, which Tampa is, are 11-2 against the spread. For whatever reason, maybe it's COVID, the no preseason, but home divisional underdogs are playing great this season. All right, Geoff, let's move on to the prop bet. Yes, Geoff, you love him. Tom Brady, a week ago. Tom Brady, MVP candidate. After Sunday night, Tom Brady, old and washed up. Geoff, Tom Brady, over under 278.5 passing yards.
It's a lot of yards, but I lean a little over here just from what I said earlier, right? Carolina Panthers 31st on third down defense. It wasn't very good last weekend against Kansas City, and they can't rush the passer. So you combine those two things, and Tom Brady will be able to move the chains effectively. Antonio Brown now, second week in this offense. I want Tampa Bay to do more play action pass. They're very good at it. Tom Brady's really good at it. And I hope they incorporate that more into their offense, which is not what Bruce Arians has done in the past. I lean over here.
Okay, on to game 2, Buffalo. The Buffalo Bills off a huge win against Seattle. Bit of a shocker to me, Geoff. They traveled to Arizona where they are 2.5-point underdogs. So Arizona's got to win by a field goal to cover the spread here. Now, Geoff, because we do these videos and I've been doing gambling for Fox for several years now, I do radio shows during the week. I have my own radio show, but I go on other shows around the country with gambling questions. And last week, Geoff, I knew something was up when all the shows I did, all 6 of them, everybody loved Arizona against Miami. I said, that's interesting. Something's got to be up here. So I took Miami. Geoff, I've done some shows this week. Do you know who everybody loves this week? The Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Folks, I think I can make a case for Arizona. Geoff, I'm going to let you tee this one up first.
I can make a great case for Arizona. I love Arizona this week. I love Arizona in this spot, obviously overcoming a Dolphins game. By the way, in that Dolphins game was a weird loss, right? The Dolphins scored 7 points on defense. The Cardinals gifted them 3 points at the end of the first half, and clock management by Kingsbury has not been great, their head coach, who, by the way, great against the spread, 15-9-1 in his career. And then they missed a 49er field goal short. It was a very weird game. And you're right, everyone is on Buffalo this week because Arizona lost that game, and Buffalo Buffalo beat Seattle by a lot. Here's why I like Arizona this weekend. Buffalo 1-3 against the spread on the road, right? Different team, home and away. And Kyler Murray is playing some really good football. Has 1 touchdown, rushing and passing now in 7 of his 8 games. Their offense, they're 5th in the red zone. They're 4th in yards per play. And they're 3rd in explosive plays. And Jason, we've seen the Bills against good offenses. The Titans, the Chiefs, and the Seahawks last week allow a lot of points and a lot of yards. I think Arizona's offense comes out, scores 37, 38 points. Their defense does just enough to stop Buffalo. I like Arizona to win this game by a field goal and cover.
Yeah, and Geoff, you made a note of the points. Look at that total, folks. 56.5, one-way action all week. This has just been going up. Everybody's expecting a shootout. Maybe this is a 37-31 game, something along those lines. I do want to note, and I know you guys love the numbers and the stats. Again, short road underdogs, meaning the team's going on the road and they're an underdog of less than a field goal this season. 18-6. Now, you never want to make a wager just based on a trend like that. 18-6 against the spread is a tiny sample size. But the case for Buffalo is, hey, Tua Tagovailoa moved the football easily last week. He had a very solid game, huge drive when they were down a touchdown in the second half. But I should note, Geoff, 2 big moves this week off the COVID list for Arizona. 2 defensive starters, Byron Murphy, their slot corner, who's going to defend Stephon Diggs or match up with him a lot, and Kennard, their best edge rusher. Both of them return, as well as Kirkpatrick, their number 3 cornerback. He was injured, missed the game. So I think Tua had an easy attack against Arizona last week through the air. I don't think Josh Allen will have as much success. I'm with you. I like the over here, and I'm on Arizona. Geoff, here's our prop bet. Are you ready for this one? This is fun. Kyler Murray, what a stat this is. First of all, over under 36.5 rushing yards. Geoff, let me preface this by saying Kyler Murray has more rushing yards this season than Alvin Kamara. What?
I mean, Kamara's great out of the backfield as a pass catcher, too. I mean, we've seen him rip off long gains that way as well. I did not know that. And I was going to lean over here anyway, just because I think Kyler Murray, does so much with his legs. Look, whenever you bring pressure against Arizona, the way they're all spread out, it's easy to see. And we saw last weekend as well, Kyler Murray made a lot of plays with his legs, but also the rushing touchdown stat I gave you, he has won in at least 7 games this season, is because they use him a lot in the red zone. Because when everything condenses in the red zone, you need extra blockers. And when you run with the quarterback, you get the running back to be a blocker. So it helps you out with numbers. And that's why they use it so often in the red zone. So it's a great tool for them. I think they use it a lot here. And I think he does get over this rushing total.
All right, Geoff, let's stick in the NFC West. Next game. Ooh, this is a tasty one. I love this game. Seattle. Off the big Buffalo loss, they now travel back-to-back road games to Los Angeles to take on the Rams. The Rams are 2.5-point favorites, meaning they have to win by 3. And since I know you guys love stats, let me give you 2 quick ones. The Rams have won 4 of 5 against Seattle. McVay kind of has Carroll's number. McVay, listen, I'm not saying he's a better coach, but head-to-head, the matchups have favored McVay. Yeah. And the one loss they had, Geoff, was a missed field goal by Greg the Leg Zuerlein, which was like a 44-yarder. So the Rams could have won the last 5 against Russell Wilson. Now, the one number I want to give you, Geoff, awful loss since 2010. Seattle, 36-19-3 against the spread. That's 65%. Second best in the NFL. Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll, awful loss, are great. How do you feel about this game, Geoff?
The number is great for Seattle, except now their defense is the worst in the NFL, and I would throw all those numbers out, right? They allow 362 passing yards a game. They allow 8 yards per pass attempt. I think Jared Goff is off a bye. He has not played very well, and the Rams come out and steamroll the Seahawks. I know I said steamroll. I know it seems odd to say that, especially with Seattle's defense, but to your point, the Rams have a combination on defense that works well against Seattle. Their interior offensive line, Seattle's, is a little beat up right now. Aaron Donald's healthy again. Off a bye, off 2 weeks off. Sean McVay, by the way, off a loss, 10-6-1 against the spread. He's 3-1 against the spread off a bye, including the playoffs when they had that bye a couple of years back. So I get the Rams refreshed off a bye. Also, last point about the Rams. With Seattle losing that game last weekend, they know if they win this game, they're right back in the NFC West race. And so this is an important game for them. They've been playing this for 2 weeks now. I think LA gets this done. They win by a field goal or more, and they cover this game.
Okay, so I'll push back against it. First of all, 2 things. I looked last year. How did McVay do off the bye? They went to Pittsburgh and lost to Mason Rudolph. I was a bit surprised. I think they were 1 for 15 on 3rd down. I don't know what happened there. I know that Pittsburgh defense can get pressure on Goff, and he does crumble under pressure. Yeah. We saw in Miami a couple weeks ago, they went with the 0 blitz. You know what that is, guys. Bringing everybody up to the line of scrimmage, no safeties in the secondary, and just bum rushing the quarterback. And Goff tends to crumble under pressure. What did Seattle do last week? 7 sacks against Josh Allen. Of course, the problem is Josh Allen, very accurate last week with the great receivers Diggs and Brown. They had a monster game. But Geoff, here's my quick little pushback, okay? If this comes down to a special teams, right? You said a field goal. The Rams are 31st in the league in special teams. Seattle 4th. Kicking, punting, big advantages on special teams for Seattle.
No, that's fair when you look at the entire package of a game, right? We know how often field goals matter. Extra points matter a lot now, right? They move the extra point back, and we see 7 or 8% of those missed, and how much that matters to the game. I just think the Rams are so refreshed off this bye. I cannot trust a defense in Seattle that allows 360 pass yards a game. I just can't do it.
I want to take the Rams, Geoff. Let me ask one more little pushback question, because a buddy of mine said, who's the best quarterback the Rams have faced this year? Geoff, they got 4 wins over the NFC least, and they beat the Bears. You have to go back to week 1 and Dak Prescott for the best quarterback they faced. Now you face, maybe the guy who's number 2 in line for the MVP. Is the Rams defense as good as advertised?
I think it is, and I think there is something to the idea of owning another team. I know it sounds odd when we look at Pete Carroll and on all the work he's done and all the success he's had in Seattle, but McVay has his number. You mentioned it, 4 out of the last 5. There's something about these games where Aaron Donald especially dominates the interior of the Seahawks, and he plays really well. And I think the Rams have continually shown pass defense. They've done a very good job so far this season, including the pass rush. I think the Rams are good enough off a bye to make this a win and pressure Russell Wilson a bunch.
All right, before we get to the props, one last Aaron Donald stat I dug up. I know you guys love the stats. Aaron Donald has been double-teamed more than any player in the league this year, 171 plays. He still leads the NFL in pressures and is tied for first in sacks. That's how good Aaron Donald is. He might wreck this game. I think I'm with you, Geoff, on the Rams. All right, prop bets. We have first up Robert Woods over under 62.5 receiving yards against I believe you said this is the worst defense, pass defense-wise, in NFL history through 8 games.
It is. So he's played them 6 times. He's been over this number 4 of those 6 times. Actually had some pretty good games against Seattle. I would just lean over here. I think Goff, and we'll get to my confidence picks a little bit later. I think Goff has a big day. 300-plus yards, multiple touchdowns. I feel like him off a bye, it's going to be a good game for the Rams. So I'll go over here with Woods.
All right, let's get to Game 4, Monday Night Football, Geoff. Minnesota, hot. The Vikings are hot. They are a covering machine thanks to Dalvin Cook. They travel to Chicago, and I'm a little surprised at this one. Minnesota on the road, 3-point favorites. Geoff, before I tee you up to go off on this game, I have the stat of the week for sure. Kirk Cousins, in his career on Monday Night Football, 0-9, 0-6 with Washington, 0-3 with Minnesota, 6 interceptions. Geoff, the floor is yours.
Oh, man. Look, I think this game is one of those where it's fun to just put your feet up and watch the game and not have much money on this game. I don't know what side to pick. Look, Minnesota is 5-1 against the spread their last 6 games. But here's a stat I dug up. Their offense is Dalvin Cook, right? We know how good he's been lately. The last 3 times he's played the Bears, he's rushed for 35, 39, and 12 yards against the Bears. So the Bears defense does a really good job of bottling him up in this offense and then forcing Cousins to make plays, which is not what this offense does best. It does not run through Cousins best. And the Bears know the only way they can win this game is if they play great defense, because offensively, they're a complete wreck. We know with Foles, their offense is not efficient. They don't score enough points. They don't get in much of a rhythm. Even though Vikings defense is not terribly good, they're playing a lot better. They've gotten better. Some of the young pieces have played better. I think it's a game. You put your feet up, you turn the fireplace on, you enjoy it, but you don't put much money on this game.
Yeah, the Bears getting 3 at home. I think that's the side for me here. I do want to look at one other Kirk Cousins number, okay? Against teams with winning records, Geoff, Kirk Cousins, 8-32. I mean, I was not a math major in college. I think that's somewhere in the neighborhood of 25%. But Geoff, I mean, Kirk Cousins can't win under the bright lights of Monday Night Football. He's not good against teams with a winning record. And I'm not saying the Bears are a good team, Geoff. We just saw their offense look like a 1987 offense against the Titans last week, dreadful. But their offensive line was beat up. I think they can bounce back here strong. The other number on Kirk Cousins, sorry to hit you with a million of them. Kirk Cousins in 3 games versus Chicago, okay, sacked 12 times. Like the offensive line, for whatever reason, can't handle the Chicago pass rush. And you're giving me a field goal at home. I know home field doesn't mean anything, but I'm going to go with the Bears here. Low total, by the way, of 44. All right, prop bet, Geoff. Here we go. You're going to love this one. The Chicago Bears team total. Will the Bears score over or under 20 and a half points?
Jeez. Your guess is as good as mine. I think that for them to win this game, it's probably a slightly over to win this game. I would just say 21 points probably. I think over is probably the play here, but I do not feel comfortable making that bet.
I'm kind of with you. I mean, this is a bad Bears offense. I think they had 3 points heading into the fourth quarter against the Titans last week, and the Titans are dreadful. I made a case last week for the Bears. I bet money on them. I lost money on them. They nearly came through the back door late, but unless Nagy shows some aggressiveness with that offense, I mean, it's 3 yards in a cloud of dust every first down, and that just doesn't work in the NFL in 2020. All right, on to our next game. And this one is a doozy, Geoff. I really think this is a fun one. The Chargers with Justin Herbert gunning for Rookie of the Year. Chargers lose every game in just such painful fashion. They are 2.5-point dogs, taking one of the longest flights in the country down to Miami, where Tua is a 2.5-point favorite. So the Dolphins got to win by 3 or more to cover the spread. Geoff, you can make a case for either side here?
All right. So the one thing I've learned most getting into gambling since I retired in 2016 is that when it feels too good to be true, you take the other side, right? And right now you look at the Dolphins. They've won 4 straight games. The Chargers are 1-6 in close games. They cannot close games out. Dolphins have won 4 in a row. Put your money on the Dolphins, right? No. Let's go with the Chargers here. Everyone is going to bet on the Dolphins. You do not want to play public games. Public games are Joe Schmo throwing money down. The sharps that go the other direction, right? Think about the Chargers right now. You cannot sustain a pace of being 1-6 in close games. It does not happen that way. You end up getting a break here and there. Look how the Dolphins have won the last 2 weeks. They have 4 touchdowns, Jason, on defense and special teams. Eventually that comes back down to earth as well. Justin Herbert is really good against pressure. 8 touchdowns, 4th in passer rating. The Dolphins, we know, pressure a lot on defense. I'm not worried about that offense. On the flip side, Joey Bosa is back for the Chargers off a concussion. He practiced all week. He will get after Tua. Tua not as great under pressure as he is otherwise. I think the Chargers win this game outright. I'll take the 2.5 points as well. But when it feels too good to be true, you take the other side.
Yeah, great points. Chargers have lost 6 games by a total of 24 points. Now, to your point about the close games, and that's got to change, it reminds me of when you walk up to a roulette table, right? And you see red has come up 12 times in a row. Well, it's got to change, right? No, it doesn't actually. Over the long tail, when you go 500 spins, sure, but 12, 13, it doesn't totally have to. So I think this is a fascinating game, a battle of rookie quarterbacks, and we've got 2 prop bets on the rookies. Let's see number 1. Here we go. Prop bet number 1, Justin Herbert over under 257.5 passing yards. He nearly pulled off the win against the Raiders. He's got a great receiving core against a secondary that's very good.
Yeah, Chargers need to get him to smile on his picture next time. I don't like this picture of Justin. Come on, man. You can smile. It's okay. I'm going over here again. I think he's really good against pressure, and he's shown the ability when pressure does come to find his wide receivers who are outstanding. We know the Dolphins, look, defensively, they're going to come after Herbert. He knows it. They know it. And teams have found a way. Last week, Kyler Murray threw for a bunch of yards, scored a bunch of points. I think Justin knows what he's doing here. He'll find ways to have answers. I like the over here for him.
And Tua Tagovailoa over under 235.5 passing yards. Now, he didn't light it on fire against the Rams. He was under duress, as you noted, with Aaron Donald. Now Bosa back. That's a big factor here. Geoff, I'm assuming you're going to lean to the under. No Preston Williams, which is big. He's our number 2 receiver after Parker. You remove him from the equation, It might be practice squad guy time. So I don't know, 235.5.
Yeah, I would lean slightly under here. I don't have a great feel on what Tua's prop should be and where he's going to go in this game. Obviously, the pressure component is a big part of this. He did tear apart Arizona when they brought pressure, but this is a different type of pressure. Chargers do not blitz a lot. They get home with their 4 guys, and when you get home with 4 pass rushers, you have 7 in coverage. It makes your defense, especially your pass defense, a lot better. So I would lean a little bit under here, but I don't have a great feel for how Tua's going to look. And Tua smiles in his picture. See, Justin, smile in your pictures, man. Come on.
Yeah, I think the Chargers play a lot of zone. I think they were 7th most of the league zone defense. And Derek Carr ate him up last week. And Tua, if you can't get to him with Bosa, and I don't know if Ingram's going to play. I haven't monitored his situation. But Tua could have a nice little day. They're down to their 3rd-string running back. So this appears to be a slugfest. I do love that game. All right, let's move on to Game 6, Geoff. And it is a primetime affair. Baltimore, fresh off that mediocre cover against the Colts. They looked awful in the first half. They are 7-point favorites against the Patriots on the road. I mean, is this a little disrespectful to Bill Belichick? His team is a touchdown underdog at home against a Ravens offense. Geoff, we were early on this. We've talked about this for a couple weeks. This ain't Lamar Jackson from 2019, the MVP. Like, where is that guy?
Look, I know it seems odd to take a road team in New England favored by 7 points, but I don't know what the better play is here. Look, Baltimore, we know offensively has had their issues, but if you looked at New England's defense lately, they're atrocious. They're nothing like the Bill Belichick defense we saw in 2018 or 2019. They can't stop a soul, Jason, and they're going to come in, and Baltimore's going to come in here knowing that obviously it's New England, it's Bill Belichick. They want to prove that they still got it. And look, as ugly as it was last week, Baltimore has played well outside of Kansas City and Pittsburgh. New England's not a good football team right now. And Baltimore throughout the year has done a great job of covering against really bad football teams. And if you take the logo off the side of the helmet and you take the hoodie off of Bill Belichick, this New England roster is not good. And they're not playing good football right now. They squeaked out a victory against the Jets. I think Baltimore comes into New England, wins this game by 14, 17 points, and they cover fairly easily.
Yeah, this is a Baltimore defense, top 5 in the league. And the Patriots have faced some good defenses lately. Denver's a top 10 defense, and the Patriots couldn't move the football. Yeah. The Chiefs, and it was Brian Hoyer and everything. Patriots could not move the football. 49ers, I think, are 12th in defense, and the Patriots can't move the football. Listen, folks, don't think that this is Cam Newton throwing for 300 yards and an awesome game and nearly beating the Seahawks. This is a number 5 defense in the league. This is a Ravens team if they can get right offensively, we're going to be talking about them as a Super Bowl team. Geoff, quick note, okay? Lamar Jackson revealed on a radio show this week that he's going to the line of scrimmage and the opponents are calling out the plays that are coming. And I don't want to go too deep into this, but if you look at their offensive coordinator, Greg Roman, he kind of ran into the same issue with Kaepernick. Remember, Kaepernick got them to the Super Bowl in San Francisco. And then the second year, people quickly caught up to him. I don't want to say everybody's caught up to Lamar, but they're calling out the plays at the line of scrimmage. If you're an offensive lineman, as you were, what do you think when the middle linebacker's calling out what's coming?
I've had this happen before. It's not very fun. And it doesn't obviously give you hope that you can function. But this goes to a broader sense of what Baltimore's offense is. And we've talked about this for a couple of years now. I was wrong about Lamar's effectiveness in the NFL. Obviously, he won MVP last year, so he showed me and a bunch of people that doubted him. But now we're seeing the issue with this offense. It's not multiple enough. Look at the best offenses in the National Football League, right? Chiefs and the Saints and the 49ers when they're healthy, and the Seahawks, right? These teams are so multiple. They do so many different things, give you so many different looks. Baltimore's not that way, right? Baltimore doesn't have an exquisite passing game. They're not trying to beat you down the field with explosive pass plays. And so I'm not surprised teams have figured out what they're trying to do. For last season, or was it maybe 2 years ago, they only pulled the left guard. Like, that's all they did, just pulled the left guard. They never pulled the right guard. Like, their tendencies are easy to see. Now without their left tackle, they're a little bit easier. So I think this is something that they're going to have to figure out, and it's not going to be figured out now. This is an offseason problem.
All right, let's get to the prop bet. The other quarterback, Lamar's counterpart, Cam Newton, to score a rushing TD. Goodness gracious. He had 2 against the Jets. If they get inside the 5, like, he's their offense. Yeah. Geoff, your thoughts?
Look, you bet 10 here, you win 12.50 essentially. I'd bet the over here. I bet him to score a touchdown because, to your point, this is their offense, right? Their offense is Cam Newton. It's been the Panthers' offense with Cam Newton as well. If you get inside the 10, again, I mentioned with Kyler Murray, the reason why quarterback runs are impressive in the red zone is you get an extra blocker in a condensed space. Everything closes down in the red zone. You have that running back now to block for you. It kind of takes the hit off a quarterback and hit off the run game. So it's important that Cam Newton gets the ball in these situations. I bet it here. And again, you get that plus money.
I like it. Let's get to the next game, Geoff. The Philadelphia Eagles off a bye week. Interesting number here. 3.5-point favorites at the New York Giants. We just saw the Giants and Danny Dimes pick up a win. All Danny Dimes does is beat Washington. Literally, he is 4-0 against Washington. I believe it's 1-16 against the rest of the league. Danny Dimes, the turnover machine. Of course, last week, the week I bet against him, Geoff. How many turnovers? 0 for Danny Dimes. Hey, listen, it was a rough week for me. But interesting note for the Eagles. They're getting almost everyone back healthy. Dallas Goedert, the tight end, expected back. Miles Sanders, their great running back. He should be back. The offensive line will be about as healthy as it's been since week 1. That was before the halftime injuries against Washington. So, Geoff, 3.5 seems like a big number. The Giants did almost beat them a couple weeks back in October, ended up losing by 1. Eagles 22, Giants 21. Your thoughts on the line here?
Yeah, the last 6 Giants games have all fallen within 8 points. Right? They've done a good job of keeping the games close. Not always winning the game, but keeping them close enough. I just lean Giants here. You mentioned the divisional dog stat earlier. They seem to play Washington and Philly well so far this season. They played Dallas well, by the way, early in the season. Look, Daniel Jones, turnover machine. He's bound to turn over this weekend, but so is Carson Wentz. And the Eagles' problems, Jason, are not just their offense returning. It's Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is the problem. He extends plays too long. He has bad footwork in the pocket. He's not good against pressure anymore. And so the Giants defense, by the way, is kind of low-key playing okay. They're doing a good job. They're playing hard. I might have been wrong about Joe Judge and his ability to fire this team up. I lean the Giants here. Don't feel great about it. Maybe some pizza money here and there, but I lean Giants.
Let me ask you, so as an offensive lineman, you get the bye week, Geoff. We like to talk about it as gamblers as that's an advantage. But I should note, Doug Peterson has lost his last 2 games off the bye week. Yeah. I don't know if it's a health factor you want to go to or rest or maybe the mindset or just getting away from football. I know I like a vacation, but I sure as heck don't take one in the middle of the football season.
Oh, I've taken many a bye week vacation back when we were allowed to travel. I left the country twice. It was a lot of fun to leave and then come back and get ready to play football. No, it feels great to have that bye, especially this time of year, middle of the year. You've been grinding since training camp, and just to get a mental week off, a week to rest, a week to recover. And I agree with all the points you said. All these guys come back healthy. The problem is I'm not sure a bye week fixes Carson Wentz's problems. If you're a team that's playing well and you have some injuries and you lose some games and the bye week comes around and you get all healthy and you come back and you win, it makes a lot of sense. But the Eagles are hurt, but also, again, Wentz is not playing well. I cannot reiterate that enough. I don't know if the bye week, Jason, fixes those problems. He can't go clear his head on the beach somewhere. That doesn't help his footwork or his lack of ability just to throw the ball away. I just don't know if the bye is going to help the Eagles in this situation.
A great point. All right, let's get to the prop bet. And I love what our producer did. He's so smart. He picked Evan Ingram, the guy who dropped a pass that would have won the game against the Eagles last time. I mean, Evan Stonehands Ingram. I mean, literally, it goes right off his hands. He should have had that. Giants would have got the victory. Over under 4 receptions for the. Listen, he's a talented kid, tight end.
He also dropped that pass that led to the interception, right, to end the game. That was
I think he did. Yes,
he had a bad game against the Eagles. I would go with 4 is kind of a let's go over here. He's going to bounce back this weekend. He's going to make it up. He's going to have a great week, and the Giants are going to cover this game.
All right, so now it's the portion of the program everybody loves. We all wait for the confidence picks. And, Geoff, you see the records there on the screen. Listen,
yes,
folks, last week was nothing to write home about, obviously. But we're past that, okay? We are past that, Geoff. Let's get to pick number 1 for pizza money. Your thoughts? Look at you going back to the well.
Yes, I've been very good so far this year on quarterback props. I think 4 or 5-0. I'm going Goff here. I think, again, off a bye, Goff throws for a lot of yards against Seattle. A lot of yards. I like him close in the 300 range.
I took Miami. I know we kind of disagree on this one. I just love the cut of this team's jib the last 3 weeks. I was on him against the Rams. Correct. I was on him last week against Arizona. Correct. Now, I don't love that they're favored here. Tua favored, but I'm telling you, this cornerback duo of Howard and Byron Jones, other than Jones getting torched by Christian Kirk once, I thought he had a good game. Howard, Geoff, are you ready for this? One of the great stats last week, DeAndre Hopkins wasn't targeted in the first half. Only the second time in his career. Howard really shut him down. Now, he had 3 flags in the second half. But anyways, I'm going Miami for my pizza bet. For fire, Geoff, where are you on your fire pick?
I'm going Cleveland here, minus the 3.5. Don't like the 3.5. I like it a lot better at 3. Houston is not a good team. They're 2-6 this year. Their 2 wins are against Jacksonville. They're 1-7 against the spread so far this season. Here's why I like the Browns more than anything else. They get their offensive line back after a bye. They get Nick Chubb possibly back. I think he's going to play this weekend. Well, if not, Kareem Hunt will rush for enough yards. Texans cannot stop the run. Terrible against the run. So bad against the run. I think Browns off a bye, refresh. Here's where the bye helps, Jason, right? Get 2 offensive linemen back, healthy, ready to go. I think the Browns run all over the Texans. Again, Texans not a good team. 2-6, have lost all their games by 8 or more points. Give me the Browns here.
Let me ask you, you said you don't love it at 3.5. I mean, you like it more at 3. Can you just explain to the audience what the big difference is over half a point?
So there are important numbers in the NFL where a lot of games fall on, right? 3, right? A field goal, 7, a touchdown, 10, obviously a combination of a field goal and a touchdown. And this line has been anywhere this week from like 2.5. The Browns favored by less than a field goal, right? The less points they're favored by, the team you like, the easier it is to win that bet. And so if you move above 3.5 now, Browns have to win by 4. It's not a common number. As common as 3. So I think the Browns win this game comfortably, but the better value would have been at -2 or -3.
I went with Tampa. We talked about it earlier. I just think they get to Bridgewater. You pressure him, you win the game. Just go check back earlier in the video for my awesome breakdown of why I like Tampa. I know it's chalky, but I'm doing it. All right, Geoff, final pick in the confidence meter, your lock of the week. Whoa!
Yes.
Wow.
We are on opposite sides of this. This is, again, the public has been tortured the last 2 weeks betting on public favorites. They did not cover last week at all. Some lost outright 2 weeks ago. Again, a bloodbath. The Dolphins are so public right now. Everyone is betting on the Dolphins, including you, Jason, obviously. I think the Chargers go into Miami. No one's talking about them, and they win this game outright. But I'll take the 2.5 points anyways.
That's a big. I think this is maybe our first head-to-head on the confidence meter. I have the Dolphins. He has LA. My lock, Arizona. Listen, I just think Buffalo
Arizona.
a little overvalued in the market. I think the Arizona secondary getting everybody back should be good. I will say this, Budda Baker, highest paid safety in the league, excellent player, missed practice Wednesday. Unclear what's going on with him, but I do like this Arizona team to win at home against Buffalo.
Love it. I love Arizona too.
All right, Geoff, on to Thursday Night Football. This is a good game tonight. I'm kind of intrigued by this, and the line movement has been interesting. Tennessee was favored for most of the week. They are now the underdog at home against Indy. A lot of professional money pouring in on the Colts. They now have to win on the road by more than one to cover the spread. If you're betting this today, Geoff, this is a Colts team that has really had Tennessee's number. If you go back the last 16 meetings, and yes, I know Ryan Tannehill was not part of all those. Colts have won 14. They've really dominated this division. A lot of that was Andrew Luck head-to-head. Kind of a high total, 48.5 for two teams that like to run the football. Geoff, how do you break this one down?
And Indy also wins in Nashville quite often. It's like 8 out of the last 9 games. I mean, they dominate in Nashville. I do not know why. There's not a great reason for that. They're a dome team going outside. There's no great reason why other than they're just really good, and the Titans have not been. Look, this game is tough for me because, look, I've not been as high in Indy so far this year. I know people are. I have not been. I just don't understand the love for Phillip Rivers. And when you like a team, you have to like their quarterback. I just don't like Phillip Rivers, but their defense is really good. The reason why I struggle with this game is because the Titans' defense is like 31st or 32nd on third down. They cannot stop anyone. They played well last week against the Bears, but, I mean, look, anyone can play well against the Bears. So I really struggle with taking the Titans here just for that fact. I think the Colts, I should say, have a good offensive line. They have enough weapons. Rivers will be able to sit back there all day, and we know that Rivers against pressure, we saw last week, not as good. The Titans can't pressure him. So I'll go with the Colts here on a short week on the road on Thursday. I don't love it, but I can't bet on a team that's terrible on third down.
Yeah, I like the Colts as well. Something's going on with Derrick Henry and the Titans. Like, he was a machine earlier this season. There was some chatter about him maybe an MVP candidacy. And if you look at the last few weeks, okay, you remove that Bengals game because, the Bengals have one of the worst run defenses in the league. He has not been able to get on track against Pittsburgh, okay? Then he wasn't able to do anything last week against Chicago. I don't want to say he's running like he's got a piano on his back, but, Geoff, something is up with Derrick Henry, and he's facing an elite run defense in the Colts. If you look last week, they did not give up a 10-yard carry to Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. Not one. Now, they did get run over in the second half, but it was all death by 1,000 cuts. Darius Leonard is the guy to watch. I think the line swung when T.Y. Hilton officially was declared he's a go tonight. They didn't have him against the Ravens, and they can't stretch the field. That offense was, just dreadful. With Hilton, they'll be able to at least throw deep a little bit. They really had none of that. And defensively, Darius Leonard. Folks, if you want to watch one of the best linebackers in the league, number 53 on the Colts, sideline to sideline guy. I think he had 15 tackles against Baltimore. He is a machine. Geoff, as an offensive lineman, you guys know you've got to block Darius Leonard on every running play, right?
So here's the problem with Derrick Henry and the Titans offensive line is that they lost Taylor Lewan, their left tackle, just had ACL surgery this week. Roger Saffold, their left guard, has been out. He should play tonight. We'll find out, obviously, as we get closer to go. If he doesn't play tonight, if Saffold does not play, you bet the Colts heavy, in my opinion. The Titans have done a lot of work the last 2 years behind those two guys, the left tackle and the left guard. I remember the AFC Championship game against the Chiefs. They're blowing the Chiefs off the line of scrimmage. And they don't have those guys. Now, Saffold, again, might come back, but there's no replacing a left tackle. They drafted a right tackle, Isaiah Wilson, hasn't played so far this year. So you're really out a right tackle and a left tackle. That's the issue, is that their offensive line is not as good. Rushing the ball is more of an offensive line stat than it is a running back stat. That's why running backs, unfortunately, are not valued as much anymore, because it's an offensive line stat more than anything else. So their offensive line is not going to get any better, and that's where the concern is with Henry.
Perfect segue into our prop bet for Thursday Night Football. Derrick Henry, over under 80.5 rushing yards. And, Geoff, a lot of people are going to look at this and feel, well, that's light. 80.5. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a very low total. I think that again, I would lean under here. I think they rely a lot on Ryan Tannehill tonight. Their passing offense is really elite still, and I know it doesn't look that way because they struggled last week, but they're still in the top 5 in efficiency numbers. passing the footballs. I think they rely a lot on the passing game here, find some matchups they like, and attack the Colts in that manner. I go under here. It's a low number. I get it. But I think the Colts know that they have to stop Henry. And again, that offensive line thing is a concern. So I go with under here.
Hey, I know you love running backs. Can Jonathan Taylor hold on to the football? I mean, his fumble last week changed the game against the Ravens. And did you notice they pulled him for 2 quarters? He got benched for that fumble. Colts, listen, I was on the Colts last week, so obviously this pains me a little bit. But I'm telling you, they had that game in control. The Ravens could do nothing offensively in the first half. I like the Colts tonight. All right, Geoff, that wraps up Thursday's Talk the Line. We're coming back Sunday, right? I don't know if we're going to be dressed this nattily. But I don't know, Geoff. Your thoughts on just week 10?
I'm just every week I'm fortunate that we have football, man. We're still chugging along. NFL's doing a good job. Look, college has cancellations, but not the NFL. Still going strong. So thank you, NFL players, coaches, personnel, doing a good job.
And thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on Sunday.